The history of Egypt is a story of ancient civilizations, conquests, cultural exchange, and modernization. Here's a condensed overview of key periods and events in Egyptian history. Ancient Egypt c. 3100 BCE to 332 BCE. Ancient Egypt is one of the world's oldest civilizations, with a history spanning over 3 millennia. The civilization emerged along the Nile River, where early settlers established agricultural communities and developed a complex society, characterized by monumental architecture, advanced engineering, hieroglyphic writing, and religious beliefs centered around the worship of deities like Ra, Osiris, and Isis. Ancient Egypt is renowned for its iconic landmarks, such as the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, and the temples of Luxor and Karnak. Pharaonic period c. 3100 BCE to 332 BCE. Ancient Egypt was ruled by a succession of pharaohs who wielded absolute power and were considered divine intermediaries. The Pharaonic period saw the rise and fall of powerful dynasties, such as the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and New Kingdom, each characterized by distinct achievements in art, architecture, military conquest, and cultural development. The New Kingdom, in particular, witnessed the height of Egypt's power and influence with famous rulers such as Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, Tutankhamun, and Ramesses II. Conquest and foreign rule 332 BCE to 1950 CE. Egypt came under foreign rule with the conquest of Alexander the Great in 332 BCE, marking the beginning of the Hellenistic period. After Alexander's death, Egypt fell under the control of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled until the annexation of Egypt by the Roman Empire in 30 BCE. Egypt remained under Roman rule for centuries, followed by Byzantine and Arab conquests in the 7th century CE. The Arab conquest brought Islam to Egypt, and Cairo emerged as a center of Islamic culture, scholarship, and trade. Mamluk Sultanate and Ottoman rule 1 to 501-805. In the 13th century, Egypt was ruled by the Mamluks, a warrior caste of slave soldiers who seized power from the Ayyubid sultans. The Mamluk Sultanate was known for its architectural achievements, such as the Citadel of Cairo and the Mosque Madrasa of Sultan Hassan. In 1517, Egypt became part of the Ottoman Empire, which ruled the region for over 3 centuries. Ottoman rule brought economic prosperity, cultural exchange, and administrative reforms to Egypt, but also led to increased taxation, corruption, and social unrest. Modernization and European influence 19th–20th centuries. In the 19th century, Egypt came under the influence of European powers, particularly France and Britain, who sought to exploit Egypt's strategic location and economic resources. Muhammad Ali Pasha, an Albanian military commander, initiated a series of modernization reforms, including the establishment of a modern army, the construction of infrastructure, such as the Suez Canal, and the introduction of European-style institutions and education. British occupation and independence 1882 to 1952. Egypt's strategic importance led to British intervention and the establishment of a de facto protectorate in 1882. Egypt officially became a British protectorate in 1914. Following the outbreak of World War I, the British occupation sparked nationalist movements and protests, culminating in the Egyptian Revolution of 1952, led by the Free Officers Movement under Gamal Abdel Nasser. Egypt gained independence from British rule in 1952, ushering in a new era of republicanism and Arab nationalism. Nasser era and Arab nationalism 1952 to 1970. Gamal Abdel Nasser, one of the leaders of the 1952 revolution, became Egypt's second president and embarked on a program of socialist reforms, nationalization of key industries, and pan-Arab solidarity. Nasser's policies included the nationalization of the Suez Canal in 1956, which led to the Suez Crisis and the withdrawal of British and French forces from Egypt. Nasser's leadership and advocacy for Arab unity made him a prominent figure in the Arab world. Sadat and Camp David Accords, 1970s-1980s. After Nasser's death in 1970, Anwar Sadat became Egypt's president and pursued a policy of economic liberalization and peace with Israel. Sadat's overtures culminated in the Camp David Accords of 1978, brokered by U.S. President Jimmy Carter, which led to the signing of a peace treaty between Egypt and Israel in 1979. The treaty, which involved the return of the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt, marked a historic breakthrough in Arab-Israeli relations, but also led to Egypt's isolation within the Arab world. Mubarak era and Arab Spring 1980–2011. Hosni Mubarak succeeded Sadat as president in 1981 and ruled Egypt for nearly 3 decades, maintaining authoritarian rule, political stability, and close ties with the United States. Mubarak's presidency was marked by economic stagnation, social inequality, and political repression, leading to growing discontent and protests. In 2011, mass demonstrations erupted across Egypt as part of the Arab Spring movement, ultimately leading to Mubarak's resignation and the transition to civilian rule. Post-revolutionary Egypt 2011 present. The aftermath of the 2011 revolutions, a period of political turbulence, including the rise of Islamist groups such as the Muslim Brotherhood, and the ousting of President Mohamed Morsi in 2013. Subsequent governments, led by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, have focused on restoring stability, combating terrorism, and implementing economic reforms. However, Egypt continues to grapple with challenges such as political